Power. The old film King of Kings has a very suggestive moment at which the Lord disappears in a cloud. His head for a moment remains there, but we see the suggestion of power and authority. Something of that is captured still, especially in the structure of churches of the Eastern Rite, where the Lord, with that same glory and power, is looking down from the dome upon the assembly. The Almighty, or Pantokrator. One of our greatest mystical figures in the English language is Julian of Norwich, the first lady really to write in sort of English. And she has wonderful intuitions from the depth of her reclusory as to power and glory and wisdom that orients all things for our good. She is shown all that is, and as she puts it, it was round as a ball, and it was in the palm of the Father's hand, and she was full amazed that it should not disintegrate into nothing, fall into full naught. But she saw that it didn't. Why? Because God made it, God loved it, and God kept it. We would say sustained it. And she was also shown that that same power and wisdom ruled all things. And she was shown positively that nothing at all happens without that wisdom. And this, from the depth of her reclusory, came through that English spirituality to this day. Optimism, because the Lord insisted, all things shall be well, and all things shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. But what of sin, my Lord? Thou shalt see, my daughter, that all shall be well. And what of hell, my Lord? That's a big one. This morning, I was in the back of beyond looking for a church in the middle of nowhere, and I was moved to find how that same Trinitarian grace, by a capillary effect, reaches all the corners of the world, especially the Catholic world. And I was pleasantly surprised to find in that back of beyond a lovely, warm, praying community who did nothing strange but loved Jesus, and lots of young people, uncontaminated by the pace of life. And it hit me. That hopefulness must be gained. The Lord looks around over this planet and looks for goodwill, some chink where he can get in, and we must do the same. We can spend our time bashing and criticizing, judging, and often with prejudice, those who don't think or act as we do. We lose our peace in the process. We would do well to look at Jesus and in him to see what he sees. As St. Paul says, we have the mind of Christ. Our faith is different from that of our Jewish brethren, but we have the same God. The passages where God reveals his name are important also for us. Every time that we approach the Blessed Sacrament, especially in the dim-lit church alone, we are before the burning bush, and we need to take off our shoes, that is, our thoughts, a priori, our mobile phone, and also anything that can bring us in contact with what we've left behind. St. Bernard of Clairvaux, when he was going into the monastic church with all the problems of Europe on his shoulder, would take the holy water at the holy water stoop before the abbey church and say to his problems, "Stay there, I'll pick you up again when I come out." And he was there before the burning bush and became a great mystic, even though he had to do so many things. And do you know that the very name that the Lord chose to use to reveal himself to Moses concerns this feast? It's very mysterious. The first person of to be in Hebrew is Echye, and when the Lord revealed himself as Yahweh, he was saying, "I am." Do you know what that means? It was explained to Catherine of Siena in ecstasy. "Remember, my daughter, you are she who is not. I am the one who is." To understand that is a great freedom and liberation, because we spend our time playing God, e.g. worrying lest something happen. The creature can't command, and is free once he realizes who is commanding time. We receive the moment as it gives itself. But then, that St. Catherine of Siena was shown in ecstasy something of the nature of the one who is. The Father is power. Something of it is seen in the structure of the human soul. We have memory. But then the Father understands himself, utters himself. And as John of the Cross said, the Father only said one word. It was his word. Verbum. Begotten of the Father before all ages. Now, between East and West, there is a slight difference of emphasis. We see, following St. Augustine, how this leads to such an intense bonding between the Father and the begotten that there is not just a current, but a person, proceeding and reproceeding, and creating what we call the circumincession, the going around all the time, within and without, all round this perfect circuit of love. Trinity. So the Son is wisdom, and Catherine would say intellect, and the soul. And the Spirit is this perfect bond of goodness, love. Our faith is about goodness and love. Question mark. When the one who called himself the prophet began to speak about Allah, and in his name commanding certain things to be done, are we and were we talking about Yahweh, or some force which, in commanding much bloodshed, and in particular much destruction of Christian culture and faith, was actually God at all? You judge, but remember that the Lord gave us the permission to judge by the fruits. When somebody itches to blow up Notre Dame, when, as we remember on this day, a gunman can come to a priest in Iraq and ask why he did not close the church as it was requested, and after receiving the reply, "How could I close God's house?" was immediately shot, together with 3 subdeacons, future priests, 10 years ago, Father Ragid, who studied in the same university as I did and lived in the Irish college. When all this is done in the realm of cult and worship to God, one asks, is this God perhaps resembling very closely the father of lies of which Jesus Christ our Lord spoke in the Gospel? What I want to conclude with is this, my friends. If this is our faith, there are consequences. Anything which favours the action of the demon is in some way a collusion with the forces of destruction. Our God is a God who loves silence. I have just received a volume called The Dictatorship of Noise by Cardinal Sarah, and it's a gem of spirituality. And I would leave his main thought with you on this day of the Blessed Trinity. Our God hates noise. He is not free to act in noise. If our assemblies have become noisy, if our houses have become noisy, there is an interest on the part of a sinister force. For God cannot in any way be heard, and we are damaged profoundly. Therefore, I would suggest on this day, ask yourself, how much noise is there in my day and in my soul? Is there anything concrete I can do to favour the action of God? For God, when we're alone, has a chance to whisper, and his whispers are made also of emotions. Emotions can be sanctified. Emotions dulled by too much bombardment no longer function. Learn the contact between beauty and its creator. For Pope Benedict also defined this in one of his books. The sixth way to prove the existence of the Blessed Trinity is the via pulchritudinis, the way of beauty. If beauty exists, there is an author, and true beauty, and not ugliness, is the abode of the Blessed Trinity.
Julian. Lines written to Julian of Norwich. O child of bygone pain, O little noise, once heard without a word upon the page that holds thee still, where stilled in gentle poise are thoughts that flutter yet 'tween age and age. O happy child, O child all wild with God, that brought thee home, nay, kept thee homeward bound, within a home all his. Thy feet have trod a land that I have known and homely found. O sister, elder sister, where thou art, hard by the ear of all, recall that here the morsels of a doubly broken heart would find a place to love, a place as near to this world's end as did thy loving hide. For none that knew this once can else abide. mortis in examine. O Jesu dulcis, O Jesu pie, O